Hey there, it's Lokazi. Thanks for joining me here for another game. This one was actually played using one of those use map settings, custom games. That is the King of the Hill one, and this one was on Shakuras Plateau. Is between SniXSniPe and Binski. Binski, of course, a Grandmaster Terran player, off racing as Zerg here. They're kind of teasing each other, saying, "Hey, you're randoming? Usually I'm the one that random Snakes." And Binski replies, "Yeah, I've had enough playing Terran on the ladder." So he's picking Zerg here. So it's an off race of a Grandmaster player. Still a Grandmaster player. So it should be pretty interesting, especially because he's playing against Terran, which is what he's Master League as. So it should be interesting to see how he plays against that. And surprisingly, the units tab actually works for this custom game, but the supply does not. So that will be mostly me checking back and forth between them, trying to figure out their supply when battles go on and things like that. So bear with me on that. But we should have a good game here between this Grandmasters player and Master League player, SniXSniPe. Now, so far they're close by air positions, and it is on the ladder version of the map. So no shocking things there. Everyone should be able to see and relate to that. And they are scouting right now. Snix is scouting a little later, and Binski is scouting in the wrong direction with his drone, which means he's not going to be able to deny any time on the barracks or force another SUV to come to the barracks. And what do we got over here? We have a hatchery going down before pool. Looks like it was a 15 hatch, drone back up, 15 pool. Snix might be going for a fast expand build. He has not picked up a gas yet, so that would be my assumption. And he does not get the Marine out in time to deny that lack of gas, which is going to tip off for a fast expand or a multi-racks push. Snix trying to deny this drone, but it is very crafty and is now going to extractor trick. It has not yet seen the building command center, but only a matter of time, especially if it cancels and heads north towards this wall. It should be able to see that. A second Marine is going to be out though, so they may be able to pick it off before it can see anything. We'll have to see. And as he cancels, immediately gets it back on there. Now it actually, I think, takes 3 Marines to be able to actually kill it before it finishes, but I'm not 100% certain. Looks like it's hovering in the 70s, going up to the 80s. Yeah, it does take 3. And it cancels and heads south just barely, so it does not see that fast expand. Does not see it. He is still blind as to how many barracks or what's going to be going on. So we'll have to see him have to react accordingly, maybe build a little bit of everything. Looks like he already has a queen out. He's getting a second queen out right now. Meanwhile, Snix has lifted up a racks and moved it to form a wall of 3 racks. And actually, I believe there's a space just north of this 1 racks. I'm not 100% sure, but I think. And Snix is going ahead and moving down his command center without morphing into an orbital yet. And he's pulling, looks like 5. Valiant pointing out that yes, Binski is a Grandmaster. We have some overlords out, kind of hovering. Binski getting a little sloppy with his queens. Assigning another drone back to the extractor, so he's back up to 3 drones and on the extractor, and he's only at 21 drones so far. There's 6 Zerglings on the field that he had to build in order to prepare for anything, kind of. Tech Lab going down on that barracks right there. And Snix does love his barracks play, so we'll have to see. Now, Snix's old show, Roachhorn going down, very interesting. Layer morphing at the Zerg player's base. As I was saying before, Snix used to love to push through these back rocks before they got taken out. That was his favorite. If you got these base positions like this, Snix would have been so happy on the old Shakuras. I have not seen him actually play Shakuras since then. I'm sure he still has it enabled on his ladder map, but I have not seen a replay from him on it. But I can remember. We have a Roachhorn almost finished, the layer halfway done. There was a factory going up, and another racks going down. A Tech Lab going on that factory, so I'm assuming it's going to be Siege Tank Marine. But we'll have to see. have to see. Reaper out. Looks like it's hopping down over here on the right-hand side and heading across. Zergling still poking at that wall, see what they can get done. Binski has a little overlord hangout spot right here at his rally point. He's not moving those back. If Marines show up, that could be very bad. Overlord being sacked and running through the main of SniX over here. He sees the factory with the tech lab on it, and it's researching. He sees another Rax, making a total of 4 that he knows about, and a 5th going down. Starport going down. He didn't see a reactor on it, but he's got to assume that it's got to be medvacs. It's not like you're going to Banshee this late in the game for any significant amount of damage. Siege tank is out. It is moving up, and SniX is just gearing up for a good Marine siege push. Evo chamber and Baneling nest going down over here for Binski. This is of course the right response to the siege tank Marine. And Stim is almost finished with combat shields queued up right behind it. Reactors going down on the barracks inside the base. Of course not going to be able to add them on to the ones here at the front, as they are making a wall for Banelings. Binski checking to see if a 3rd is going up, and in the meantime putting up his own 3rd. Supply depot is out. Down here, there's no turrets up, which is interesting. I guess he has not scouted any type or been tipped to any type of muta. He scanned and saw Roachwarren, which is probably why he has not put up turrets yet, but he has that engineering bay, A for upgrades and B just in case. If muta starts showing up, you don't want to have to build an engineering bay and then build. SniX moving up with 1 Marine Stim there to take out that Zergling. Creep spread is pretty good. It's about halfway through the map. No creep extending up to the 3rd though, which is kind of good and kind of bad. It's a giveaway if it's up there, but if you can't get up there, it's a bad thing. So, looks like SniX may be thinking about knocking down these back rocks and using it as an elevator point. However, it's not necessarily a bad idea just to leave them there so the army can't flank. Looks like he might have been waiting. Yeah, he was waiting for combat shields, which just finished, and he is knocking down these destructible rocks, and then he's going to elevator in right here, which is a really dangerous position. You put up siege tanks right here, and then you elevator to right here with a bunch of Marines. Maybe like 16 Marines up. You can leave the rest down here. However, I'm not sure I like the choice of knocking down those rocks. And there the siege tanks are going into position. 16 Marines going up. They are dropping. They force this entire mineral line off. And SniX can now take down a building, maybe 2. Looks like he's going to try and go for the spire, and then just load up. Baneling bomb going on, or Roach actually, on the siege tanks, and Binski is quickly cleaning that up. He is now elevatoring down Zerglings, but it is too few at a time, and they do not get enough damage done. It would have probably behooved him to drop Banelings down there. Yes, and this force can easily push this away. So Binski just staying over here to try and remain as annoying as possible. I'm sorry, SniX trying to remain over here. I'm so used to casting Binski as a Terran. I actually have a series that I just recently put up that was Binski and Trimaster from back in April at the TESPA 2 tournament here in Austin. So you should check that out. The audio quality is a little but you know, it was a live event, so what can you say? And SniX looking like he's gearing up. He's dropping his expansion at this closer towards the Zerg player's position, which is great. You do not actually want to expand to this northern position because you can easily defend here and here. So if you take the middle, like this side of the middle, you're totally fine. It's not like they're going to run by, run up here, run around, run back down without you being able to get back into position. And he has moved forward these 2 Raxes and is putting reactors on them for a total of, I think, 5 racks with reactors, 1 without. There's an armor going back over here. Baneling drop going off. Looks like it is going to get some. It gets quite a few SCVs there. Turret's not quite close enough to the edge to be able to pick off an overlord drop. And SniX has moved forward with a very large force. But right in front of him is a giant force of Binskis. I'm not sure he's going to be able to siege up in time and hold this off. It does look like he might be able to. It is now Roaches backing up. Binski, of course, a Terran player, knows to reduce that siege tank count as much as possible before it gets to the critical level of between 6 and 10. That's when it just gets absolutely nasty. And you have to hope of catching them out of position in order to get a good hit. And these Roaches are going up to try and defend this third, but the third might fall. Looks like Binski is supply capped. All these Marines lifting up into these medvacs. This entire army of Binskis, without the Mutalisks, it can just, the Terran player can just fly around the map all day in medvacs. There's not anything a Zerg can do without Mutalisk or Hydras, which aren't really a feasible option versus a Terran player, as they're just so slow off creep and way too slow to respond to the drop play of most high-level Terran players. SniX, interestingly enough, did not choose to get a planetary there at his third. Not sure I like that choice, especially knowing that it's pretty much all Roach. The Roaches are at +1 armor right now, but that is the only upgrade outside of speed on them. They do not have plus damage. Marines moving up with their +1/+1 versus this giant Roach army. However, the siege tanks are pretty far back. They are not able to threaten the ramp out of Binski's main yet. A few Marines being loaded into a dropship there to go drop the, looks like the 4th base of Binski. SniX stemming around, tickling as many overlords as he can. He picks off 3, almost 4. I believe that, oh no, it does not resupply cap Binski. He produced an excess of overlords. And it looks like this drop is just kind of chilling. It will get cleaned up by those banelings if it decides to drop down. Unless it drops on the high ground and somehow lures them up. Which it very well could. And here SniX comes in. Looks like those banelings are going to clean it up very handily though. In the meantime, SniX has reinforced with a few more tanks. He's unsieged them and moved them up. I'm not sure I like this decision of leaving his tanks out in the open. Luring the Roaches back, they're going to take a massive amount of damage from these siege tanks, and I'm not sure it's the best choice to push in on the siege line, and it looks like Binski is deciding the same thing, and he backed out. He lost a lot of Roaches there. I am not sure he's going to be able to recover from that. He did clear a decent amount of Marines, but all of the siege tanks are still up and holding position back there. Now these Marines pretty much have free reign to go harass the third. This number of Roaches can't really threaten that siege line too effectively, and the mobility of the stim Marines will let them get back over there in time. Creep has been knocked down in front of the base, and it's taken long enough, it has receded. But Binski's gonna have to respond to these Marines over here. And here he comes with all the Roaches. And all those Marines getting melted by the morphed banelings at the third. Very good defense there by Binski, but he is falling behind in the macro game. He's floating a lot of minerals. He cannot produce enough units, it seems, with his larva. He is just trying to mass out units as fast as possible. I'm sorry, that's him. It's like, why is it showing a Terran icon up there? And then I realized because when you pick at the beginning of the game, Terran icon. Ooh, late siege there by SniX. A good fungal going off on all these Marines. But it looks like the tank line is able to hold. There are enough in the back. I'm not sure Binski knew there were that many tanks back there. I think he thought that some of the tanks were moved up and he would be able to push the line. But there's actually just 4 more tanks there, I think. And it looks like this is going to be the end here for Binski. Simming forward, takes out the Infestor, just chews through all of those. Wow, so many drones died trying to run up that ramp. Baneling's being morphed up above. But SniX does have sight up there because he has medvacs. And looks like these two tanks are just going to be left here to defend this ramp. While SniX goes back for the third. Looks like a fungal did go out, maybe? No, that's just a stim damage. Binski calling GG there, and SniX takes the game. So thank you for tuning in to, I like the you lose, you win in this custom game. Thank you for tuning in to another Grandmaster / Master League Shadcast. As you can see, pretty evenly matched, though Binski was playing his off race. So, gotta give credit where credit's due. But understand that that was his off race. He's Grandmaster off racing. But very impressive play out of both players. I'm really surprised Binski actually managed to hold on so long, and he got some really good Baneley connections, as well as preventing that elevator in the south down here by his own elevator. So I will see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in. Like it down below if you like it.